Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing Sunday and also an amazing week. Today we'll be reading Genesis 22 and 23. We'll have a little recap on Genesis 21, which was the birth of Isaac. And verse 6, Sarah said, "God has made me laugh, and everyone who hears will laugh with me." She also said, "Who would have told Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne a son for him in his old age." And then in verse 8 it says, "The child grew and was weaned." I'm guessing weaned probably was that he got circumcised. "And Abraham held a great feast on the day Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw the son mocking, the one Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham. So she said to Abraham, 'Drive out this slave with her son, for the son of this slave will not be a co-heir with my son Isaac.' This was very distressing to Abraham because of his son. But God said to Abraham, 'Do not be distressed about the boy and about your slave. Whatever Sarah says to you, listen to her, because your offspring will be traced through Isaac, and I will also make a nation of the slave's son, because he is your offspring.'" And I want to read my little Bible verse, my little Bible note. It says, "The God who sees." Have you ever felt like Hagar, trapped, desperate for a break? Definitely not the one calling the shots, wondering if God sees you. Hagar was a servant, and because Sarai was in charge, Hagar one day found herself involuntarily married to Sarah's husband Abraham and pregnant with his child. I don't suppose Hagar had elaborate dreams for her humble life as a servant, but surely an unwanted marriage wasn't her first choice. In fact, the Bible tells us that when she learned she was pregnant, she looked on Sarai with contempt. Sarai wasn't particularly fond of Hagar either. Even in the Bible, lives are twisty and relations are deeply flawed. 14 years later, Sarai, now called Sarah, finally bore the child God had promised her. And by the time baby Isaac was weaned, Sarah was ready to eliminate once and for all the threat of Hagar's son to her own son's inheritance. Daisy, she wants to bark. But just like that, Hagar and her son Ishmael were cast into the wilderness. Things had gone from good to bad, to so bad that Hagar walked a distance of about a bow shot from her dehydrated and starving child because she couldn't bear to watch him die. While she sat at a distance, she wept loudly, which is what is said in Genesis 21, verse 16. Have you been there, completely out of options, not even sure where you went wrong in the first place, in desperate need of the Lord, but unsure if He even sees you? Perhaps it's hard to look on Hagar's wilderness wanderings with anything but kind of pity. Perhaps it's difficult to understand because your own circumstance have never been quite that dire. The truth is, no matter our circumstance, Hagar's desperation for the Lord is exactly where each of us ought to find ourselves every day. We ought to cry out, "Lord, I lift up my voice in desperate need of your mercy right now. This day, my only option is you. My life is a wilderness without you." Hagar's situation was rock bottom awful with nowhere to go but up. But do you see what happened when she cried out? God was right there. He saw her. Even in the driest desert, God saw Hagar. This is the God of the Bible. He never takes his eyes off his people. He never stops seeing them. Whether we've been unjustly knocked down and dragged out into the wilderness, or we're making up in our warm beds with a thirst only He can satisfy, wherever we are, God sees us. He hears our pleas and He meets our needs. Cry out to Him today. Now we can continue. Let's see. Yeah. So the rest of Genesis 21 is about Hagar being sent out because of Sarah. And yeah, in verse 16 it said, I don't know why my brother's running. When the water in the skin was gone, she left the boy under one of the bushes and went and sat at a distance about a bow shot away.
God is good.
He just said God is good. And sat at a distance about a bow shot away.
God is good.
All the time.
Amen.
For she said, I can't bear to watch the boy die. While she sat at a distance, she wept loudly. God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, What's wrong, Hagar? Don't be afraid, for God has heard the boy crying from the place where he is. Get up, help the boy up, and grasp his hand, for I will make him a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well. So she went and filled the water skin and gave the boy a drink. God was with the boy, and he grew. He settled in the wilderness and became an archer. He settled in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother got a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Let's see, guys. In Genesis 22, at that time, Abimelech, accompanied by Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, God is with you in everything you do. Swear to me by God here and now that you will not break an agreement with me or with my children and descendants. As I have been loyal to you, so you will be loyal to me and to the country where you are resident alien. And then Abraham swore it. I think there's conflict in that, but that was supposed to be for homework. So I'm going to read Genesis 22 now. Genesis 22 is about the sacrifice of Isaac. After these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham, he said, Here I am. God said, Take your son, he said, your only son Isaac, whom you love, go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains I will tell you about. So Abraham got up early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took with him 2 of his young men and his son Isaac. He split wood for a burnt offering and set out to go to the place God had told him about. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Then Abraham said to his young men, Stay here with the donkey. The boy and I will go over there to worship, then we'll come back to you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering and laid it on his son Isaac. And in his hand he took the fire and the knife, and the 2 of them walked together. Then Isaac spoke to his father. Then Isaac spoke to his father Abraham and said, My father. And he replied, Here I am, my son. Isaac said, The fire and the wood are here, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?
I'm scared to death.
Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. Then the 2 of them walked on together. When they arrived at the place that God had told them about, Abraham built the altar there and arranged the wood. He bound his son Isaac and placed him on the altar on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out and took the knife to slaughter his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. Here I am, Abraham replied. Then he said, Do not lay a hand on the boy or do anything to him. For now I know that you fear God, since you have not withheld your only son from me. Abraham looked up and saw a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. So Abraham went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering in place of his son. And Abraham named that place, The Lord will provide. So today it is said, it will be provided on the Lord's mountain. Okay, let me read my notes real quick. It's beautiful how Abraham didn't second guess God. He didn't procrastinate either. He went on the following morning. And I don't know why I keep using that Bible verse, my sheep knows my voice. And I said I also noticed that when God speaks to him, he doesn't go around telling everybody. Oh yeah, remember how he told his soldier, or the two young men that he went with, he was like, stay down here, we'll be back, right? He didn't go and tell the two young men, okay, God has told me to sacrifice my son, I'm going up there, do you guys want to come with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope you get what I'm trying to say. But okay, he has great faith. What is God testing you on? And something else I saw on TikTok was that, hold on, I'm trying to remember. Okay, when God tells you to move, you have to move. And okay, you see how Abraham spoke into his existence. Okay, hold on. You see how, okay, when Isaac told or asked the dad, so the fire and the wood are here, but where's the lamb for the burnt offering? You know, talking to Abraham. And Abraham said, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son. So even though he was going to do what God has told him to, he still had faith that God was going to, like, stop him midway, if that makes sense. Like, and then, what was the TikTok about? I forgot. It was saying that you gotta be something about, like, you gotta be aware, because notice how when Abraham heard the angel's voice telling him to not slaughter his son, right? And Abraham looked up and looked around, and that's when he saw the lamb, right? Was it a lamb or a ram? Is there a difference? Yeah, ram, right? Abraham looked up and saw a ram. The lady that I watched said that, are you missing the signs that God is sending you? Something like that. It was that, like, whatever. Let me stop talking. Right, okay. Then the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, by myself I have sworn. This is the Lord's declaration. Because you have done this thing and have not withheld your only son, I will indeed bless you and make your offspring as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand on the shore. Something else I wanted to say is that, what has God given you, and are you giving that thing that God giving you more importance than God? Because we gotta remember, God give and God could also take, if that makes sense. Yeah. Your offspring will possess the city gates of their enemies, and all the nations of the earth will be blessed by your offspring, because you have obeyed my command. Abraham went back to his young men, and they got up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham settled in Beersheba. Rebekah's family. Now after these things, Abraham was told, Milcah also has borne sons to your brother Nahor. Uz, his firstborn, his brother Buz, Chemo, the father of Aram, Chez, Hazel, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel fathered Rebekah. Milcah bore these 8 to Nahor, Abraham's brother. His concubine, whose name was Ramah, also bore Teba, Gaham, Ta'ash, and Makkah. Those names, guys. Okay. Ooh, that was a quick one. Genesis 23, Sarah's burial. Now Sarah lived 127 years. These were all the years of her life. Sarah died at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went in to mourn for Sarah and weep for her. When Abraham got up from beside his dead wife, he spoke to Hittites, I am an alien residing among you. Give me burial property among you so that I could bury my dead. The Hittites replied to Abraham, listen to us, my lord. You are a prince of God among us. Bury your dead in our finest burial place. None of us will withhold from you his burial place for burying your dead. Then Abraham rose and bowed to the Hittites, the people of the land, he said to them, "If you are willing for me to bury my dead, listen to me and ask Ephron, son of Zohar, on my behalf to give me the cave of Machpelah that belongs to him. It is at the end of his field. Let him give it to me in your presence for full price as burial property." Ephron was sitting among the Hittites. So in the hearing of all the Hittites who came to the gate of his city, Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham, "No, my lord, listen to me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the sight of my people. Bury your dead." Abraham brought down to the people of the land and said to Ephron, "In the hearing of the people of the land, listen to me. If you please, let me pay the price of the field accepted from me, and let me bury my dead there." Ephron answered Abraham and said to him, "My lord, listen to me. Land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Bury your dead." Abraham agreed with Ephron, and Abraham weighed out the Ephron the silver that he had agreed to in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 standard shekels of silver. The Ephron's field at Machpelah near Mamre, the field with its cave and all the trees anywhere within the boundaries of the field, became Abraham's possession in the sight of all the Hittites who came to the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah near Mamre, that is Hebron in the land of Canaan. The field with its cave passed from the Hittites to Abraham as burial property. That was it, guys. That was so short, and I'm so sorry if my mood seems weird. I'll try to find the video I was talking about. If not, this was so short. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great week, an amazing week, and I hope that today wasn't too boring. I don't know what's going on with me, but anyway, peace. I care for you, but God cares for you way more. Bye-bye.